Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you in part by McDonald Muffler, the Muffler Mafia in Mobile, Alabama. Family-owned and operated shop with mufflers, converters, shocks, and more. Give those guys a call at 251-661-1043. That is McDonald Muffler, the Muffler Mafia in Mobile. And Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Can'tQuitFishing.com sportsman and 2021 sportsman champion here at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. And Ted Baber of Ted Baber Video Productions. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Evening, everybody.
Hey.
Yeah, we're coming off a pretty big weekend and going to jump into what is ending up continuing for Short Track Guys in the Short Track World with races coming up this weekend. But, man, what a weekend we had this past weekend.
Yeah, it's great.
Good racing. Good. I mean, William Sawalich. I mean, what can you say about that kid?
That Minnesota Missile does it again.
He put a butt whooping on those boys. I mean, Fenhouse caught him.
Yeah. And
I thought maybe Fenhouse could give him a run for his money, but anytime Fenhouse got close, he just kind of looked in the mirror like, I'm out.
See you later. The lap traffic did create a few opportunities for Fenhouse.
It did. The only thing that was a great race, just the car count was down a little bit, but that's ARCA right now. Yeah. And I got to work on a team for Dale Shearer, which was cool. But even though we gridded the car, didn't start the race because the driver didn't feel good. And so it was a lot of work and something I've never done before. So a new experience for me.
Yep.
Shout out to his crew chief, Jimmy. He did a great job. Shame we didn't get to race, but it happens.
Yeah. And we're going to start off that weekend on that Friday night with the local series, really, that was out there. And congratulations to Grant Thompson, Trace Campus, and Brandon Burks, top three in the truck series race. And that was actually a pretty good race.
It was real good.
Yeah, the pure stocks was Colby McDonald. Yep. He ended up winning it. And Mason Johnston came from the back of the field up to third. He got a podium out of it, so that was pretty cool. And the 97 car was second. You have to forgive me, dude. I'm having a hard time remembering your name at the moment. But the first two cars with the class of the field, they were gone. Yeah. I mean, there was no. And Mike Gorham got
Robert Barber.
Robert Barber. Yeah. Thanks, Robert. Sorry about that, Robert. Ben Cranford's 343 with Mike Gorham driving to end up fifth. Billy Hoover wound up fourth. They rounded up the top five. Somebody who was well known at Five Flag Speedway, but good race. And Grant Thompson in that truck race, he had to come from the back, and he drove all the way up there and just drove a good, clean race, kept the truck out of trouble, and won the thing.
Yeah. Something he does quite consistently, too. He's a good driver, good crew, good equipment.
It was the debut of the Crown Stocks.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
First or second lap, I think it was, they got three wide going into three.
Oh, yeah. They were driving. I mean, you could tell some of those people had never driven race cars. They go in the corner. Get the wheel, just drive in too deep, and then they slide up into one another and then catch it, and then they were sideways, and it was interesting. And I hopefully that class will continue to grow, and we'll get some good cars.
Oh, they had a whole bunch of them out there. I think I want to say 14, but that may not be correct. I don't recall the exact number, but
yeah, there was a couple that didn't start. They had some problems, but I mean, considering that dude come from down around Tampa, come up here and won the race.
You could tell he
Chris
had
Rummel.
Rummel, yeah. And then he said he had to leave as soon as the races were over to get back home because he's a fireman. He had to do a shift.
Right.
Well, the next night he goes to I think Auburndale and won that feature. So I mean, hey, wait a minute. I thought everybody was like typing. I thought you had to work. So maybe he called in sick and raced again, but he did a great job. That car had a lot of gear in it because he sure was twisting that bad boy. And Ryan gave him a heck of a run for second, but couldn't get to him. But I mean, and the guy in the 10 car that finished third, I can't think of his name. He's new to racing.
Daniel Lofton.
That was his first time in a race car, and he finished third. So that was pretty cool. And then first heat race that we had, Jamie Goodwin ended up winning it, a female. And won the first Crown Stock actual race at Five Flags, the heat race. She won it. So that was pretty cool. And then she had her hood fly up on her in the feature.
Yeah, that kind of stunk a little bit.
She was running in the top three.
Yeah.
When the hood come up on her. So, I mean, and she was in a car that she ran in the top three on that dirt enduro with. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be an exciting class. It's something to watch. I really hope our classes grow a little bit, pure stock and sportsman, but let's just hope we can get some tech and we can get some things done and get some legal race cars because there's two cars at a class of that field. And, I mean, they were just walking a dog on everybody. Oh. So there's something there.
Well, I kind of like to see them put the pure stocks and sportsmen together. and then let the Crown Vic be the new entry level class.
Well, that's the talk, but because Sportsman has stepped up so much with the low racing springs and the racing shocks and the 8-inch tires, you're going to have to spend as much money. Now, if they're going to do that, they need to put us back on the 7-inch tire and run us together.
Yeah.
I would agree with that, because I'll kick your butt on that 7-inch tire, because we ain't got much horsepower. But I mean, if we do that, it would probably make it a better field, because we're not that far apart.
No.
Racing shocks and springs in a pure stock, it'll run with a Sportsman and a 602. Yeah. I mean, if people tell me 602s are expensive, I just bought one for $2,500 used, but you can stick it in a race and you'll be competitive on a 7-inch tire. Now, if you go to the 8-inch tires, yeah, it's going to hurt you, because you got to have the horsepower to turn them 8-inch tires. But you run them 7s or use 602, trust me, I know. I ran one for 7 years and won a track championship with 159 pounds of compression in one of the cylinders. So that just tells you right there, I didn't have the motor these other cars had, and we won races and won a championship. So, yes, put us back on a 7-inch tire, put everybody back on a 7-inch tire, and go with that way.
Yeah, I like that.
No, I mean, it puts it back in the hands of the driver a little bit more, because you got to be a little bit more careful. You got to drive easier, because you can't just, get out of the turn and stomp it.
Yes, you can. We run a small motor, you can. Trust me. Mine go to the floor quick, son. It dig. But you got to make them handle. I mean, it's all about getting the car to handle. And the pure stocks could run with us, and they're already on the 7-inch tire. So basically, all I have to do is change shocks and springs. You know what I'm saying? Then it would be an equal class. And detune the Sportsman. They got more pure stocks than they have Sportsman, so detune us. Take the 9-inch Fords out. They can sell them to somebody. Put us back on a 7-inch tire, 7-inch rim. Make us all equal. And I think it would make the class double, both classes double in size. And like you said, the Crown Stocks would be the beginner class, and we'd have Sportsmen, and they would have one less class they'd have to run, which means the Sportsmen could run more races.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, or any other class could add a race to their schedule.
Well, Sportsman's one that gets screwed because we only get 8 races, but we could do that, and that would work. But Tim don't want to do it because some of the guys say they won't do it. Well, there's a lot of us that will. I'd gladly sell all my 8-inch wheels and go back to 7-inch wheels on a 7-inch tire, because the tires were better. They lasted longer. We didn't have to spend as much money.
And that's the prohibitive part of the race, is you got to come up with the money to have the gear. It costs money to go fast.
Well, $200 and something for 2 tires, or $360 for 2 tires. You tell me where that hurts a guy like me who doesn't have any money.
Right.
Thank God for my sponsors, of All Pools and Emerald Coast Remodeling and Trim and Can't Quit Fishing, and you and everybody that helps me out. I appreciate all of you. Ben Cranford and everybody gives me a hand. That's great, and that's wonderful. But if we would put them all together, the racing would be a lot better. I'm telling you, it'd be you'd have some good racing again. But that's up to the promoters.
Right.
Yeah, it could happen here in the next year or so. Next season or so. We don't talk about years, but it's seasons. But
seasons, yeah.
It could happen. You could see, 15 back when we started, in the early 2000 era. You could see 15 or 18 cars again.
Well, what'll end up happening is the Sportsmen will end up being pushed up to their super stocks again. Nobody can afford to run them. They'll go away. Then the pure stock class will grow again, because there'll be everybody moving back down to that class. So, that's the way I look at it. Because if things get any more expensive Sportsman, mine's going to be for sale, and I'm going to move back to pure stock.
Yeah. Well, that's a Friday night recap. Congratulations to Grant Thompson, Colby McDonald, and Chris Rummel for those 3 wins on Friday night's features. And then we moved to Saturday with the Modifieds of Mayhem, and we've talked about the ground pounders. We love the Modifieds. Well, I do. I can tell you that Modifieds are they're just wicked bad.
Cody.
Yeah, Cody Stickler, Derek Griffin, and Jeff Letson just had a ball.
There was a little controversy on the last lap. Jeff Letson got around Derek Griffin on the restart, and they were going down the front stretch, and the 131 got loose. Jeff Letson come down a little bit, and the 95 stuck him in the quarter panel and drove him off, kind of dirty, off into 1. And then he's lucky Letson couldn't get back to him going into 3. And then instead of getting out and saying, hey, he tried to throw a block, Derek Griffin stepped in it, because he doesn't realize Jeff Letson doesn't care.
No.
The next race, Letson might end up stuffing Griffin in the fence.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no sense in all that, get out and say, hey, man, I did, you come down, we got together. But he kept, just carrying it on. And Letson says, well, it's racing. He wants to race that way. I'm good with it. So
Your paint on the wall is as good as mine.
oh yeah, but I mean, we were short a few cars. But Cody Stickler, you can't touch him. He's already won 5 races this year.
Yeah.
This is number 6.
Yes.
He won down in
he's,
New Smyrna.
He's on a roll.
Ooh, he's killing that class.
I don't know what aerodynamic, funky looking stuff he has on the front of that car, but whatever it is, it's friggin' working because he is putting a boot. He's got his foot on these folks' throats, son.
He ain't letting up.
No, he's squishing down further, adding lead to his boot or something. He's just dadgum.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're not done talking about him.
No,
Not by
Not at
a
all.
long shot.
Yeah, the way this year's already started and what we've talked about him before and the different venues that he's been to win. This is not over.
If he can handle that modified like that, he's good. There's other classes he can go to that he can do just as well in. Those modifieds are no joke.
Yep.
But he doesn't ever slow down.
No.
His car don't fall off like everybody else's does. He's got some mechanical grip in that car like nobody else, and that was pretty bad to the bone. Good. I mean, like I said, there was a race last year. They sent him to the rear for something. It wasn't 5 laps, and he had him by straightaway.
Back out there again. They're talking about putting lead in the dice in order to make sure that you always roll a 6.
Yeah, that would suck. Because that'd be just my luck. I'd get a 6 every freaking time.
Well, the modifieds of Mayhem on Saturday. Everybody getting into the stands for the ARCA, the Pensacola 200 with the ARCA Menards East Series race. Well, I mean, there's some mixed emotions about it. I think the racing outlasted everything else. We had a great time with our friends from Homa. Thank you, Mark and Jackie and Neil. Got to meet Dale Shearer, the driver of 98. Unfortunate circumstance were there, but what a great time and a great race. But, the crowd could have been a little better.
I mean, there was rain earlier in the day, and I think that kind of hurt it too. And the prices are a little steep. I think that Stars racing, and not to badmouth the track or NASCAR, it's just, guys, you're talking about grassroots people who, plumbers and mechanics. We can't spend that kind of money. It's not NASCAR. Just please help the local people, save a little bit of money. You're already making the drivers pay $300 a year plus their entry fee to get in and then everything else. So, it's expensive.
It all is.
Well, as we've mentioned before at the beginning, what Ted has now defined as the Minnesota Missile.
That's him.
William Sawalich comes away with a lap after lap after lap win from flag to flag.
He did.
Sit on a pole and spanked them.
On his, his E-Series debut, Luke Fenhouse and Jake Finch were top 3. And, 13 cars. I know it didn't look that prestigious, but I'm telling you, the racing up front with this first 4 cars later in the race really got good.
Well, they had some pretty good racing a little bit further back, and that really could have affected the race because they had 3 guys racing for position back in the pack a little bit, and the leaders were coming up on them, and everybody's going like, "Oh, this could get ridiculous." They're fighting for points too, so they have to do everything they can, fight tooth and nail for every point in that series. So
and it went caution free, right?
Yep. No, they had a caution or two. They had a couple. With a halfway break, they did a halfway deal. They come in and get tires. And I think they had 1 caution. But the thing about it is, man, anytime that Fenhouse got within a couple of car lengths of Sawalich, he just looked in the mirror like, "Oh, there you are. See ya."
Bye.
But you talk about 3 young drivers that are up and comers. That's those 3 right there. I mean, they're 3 of the best in the business right now. So
and Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yep.
And Venturini Motorsports.
Right.
Yep. Those are 2 of the names that are out there, and you've got these young kids, and that's something else I wanted to bring up too. We've seen so many cars and kids that come through and just race through it like a season or 2, and they're gone.
Right.
And now the dirt late models that we've talked about before make a living of it. They are same, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But these kids are coming in, running a season or 2, and they're gone. Wow. Carson Brown now, who we had mentioned a couple of weeks ago that won a pro late model race, is running with Rackley Roofing and the War team. Well, a lot of those kids that we're talking about that have moved on into the Gibbs situation, the Venturini Motorsports, we've all talked about them in a short period of time. It's just like they come in and they go.
Right. I mean, it's good and it's bad. It's good because they get an opportunity to move up, and it opens up opportunities for other people to move in.
Correct.
But still, it's kind of like, well, we're just going to be here for a little while, so we don't care.
ARCA racing is just gotten terrible because ARCA used to be guys like Frank Kimmel, Ramos Stott, these guys that raced for the ARCA championship year after year. There is none of that anymore. It's like you said, these young kids come in, they pay the money, they race for a few seasons, they're out. Then they're in a truck or they're in Xfinity or they're wherever they're going. And that 28 car wasn't any of the big teams. It's an independent team that Fenhouse drove for. They're a backed by Chevrolet because I think Fenhouse is going to be a Chevrolet driver, but they're not a big team like the Venturinis, and they run second.
Right.
And they've been that 28 car has run very well in the ARCA Menard series. But like I said, ARCA's got to the point where, I remember going to the ARCA race in Mobile, and you had start and park guys, but they were in some old equipment. They'd show up, and, James Hilton used to run every ARCA race and stuff like that. But all that's gone away now. It's like, okay, well, this is a feeder series. You race super late models for a while, you get one of these, and you run that for a little bit, and then you go, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's just, I don't know. It's hard because that's why you only got 15 cars. You don't have anybody that has any interest except somebody like, Dale Shearer who wants to run ARCA races, and he's got cars and he comes and races. But are you going to be competitive against Venturinis? It's going to be, you're going to have to spend a crap ton of money.
Yeah, probably not. You got them deep pockets. It's hard to compete.
Those cars go on the 5-post rig. Those kids get simulation time.
Oh.
Right.
It's all about money. It's not about the same thing we talked about with Wilson Motorsports. These kids are just, here, Mr. Wilson, here's a check. Okay, you can drive my late model.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys that come to do these events are not just down the road. I mean, this is not a local grassroots kind of thing. No. This is a nationally recognized sanctioned season with the ARCA and Menards West and the East. And so the guys, I know it's a stepping stone. They get into them and then they move on.
Right.
But it's so quick. It's even faster now than I remember years ago.
Yeah, it's not ARCA racing for the championship. It's you run for one ARCA championship or maybe two, and if you do good enough and you get enough backing, then you move on.
Right. Or if you bring enough money to the table.
Yeah,
exactly.
I guess, basically.
Well, you got to have, it's basically money. It doesn't care about your damn talent. You could be the best driver on short track, and if you ain't got no money, I mean, look at Bubba Pollard. Look how good he is.
Yep.
That man could easily race a truck or an Xfinity car and probably do pretty damn good, but they're not going to give him a shot because he's not going to write that check.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, look at Johanna Long. Look how good she was.
Right.
She would take a car that's supposed to finish 30th and run 15th and 20th, but outran Danica Patrick several times. And who goes on to Cup? Danica Patrick.
Yeah.
Who sucked. She won one pole the Daytona 500 her first time out. And look, oh my God, look at this. And you don't think they let that car cheat a little bit?
Go, Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they got tired of looking like a bunch of eggheads because she kept wrecking. So they finally,
Does anybody notice I crash a lot?
Yeah, Danica. Well, you remember one time she got into it with Landon Castle. Landon Castle spins out and he says, and she destroyed her stuff. He goes, somebody ought to teach her how to wreck somebody without tearing up your own stuff.
Yeah. Oh, boy, that's my little buddy. I've enjoyed watching him race.
If he needs to get rid of bedazzled jeans, he just that's just poor boy. He just tell your mom to put the bedazzler up, dude. You don't need it anymore. You're a grown man now.
Yeah, it's the Pensacola 200, the ARCA Menards Series East. William Sawalich, congratulations, little man. You've got a great career ahead of you. We've always said that, and we'll keep an eye on you. Luke Fenhouse battling back to finish second with Jake Finch, with Venturini. The next up for the East Series is in Dover in April on the 28th, and then the next ARCA Series race regular is at Talladega on April 22nd. And it's a great series.
Yeah,
West and East, and then you've got a national. Like we're talking about the National Stars Tour.
Right.
Yeah, you get a super late model national champion. ARCA works the same way in that kind of format. I do want to throw out a congratulations to a Buddy Kofoid. We've talked about him before. It's Michael Buddy Kofoid winning his second World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series race at Talladega Short Track with Brad Sweet and Spencer Basin. We talked about trying to increment or put in more dirt.
Right, yeah. Try to incorporate that into
incorporate, yeah, thank you. Trying to incorporate more of the dirt side of it, and just throw congratulations out to Buddy Kofoid because he's run with some of the best, he's won. I mean, World Outlaw sprint cars is kind of hard, and coming up this weekend, I don't know where to start. I know
More
where
racing?
I know where we're going to end.
Yeah.
Because the Nationals, the Spring Nationals at Cordele, and then the race in Mobile,
Right.
the 125, that's going to come up last. I'm going to start with some of these
Davidson
upcoming
Electric,
races and let you guys take over because I know you've got something that's going to blow everybody's mind.
We're going way out west.
Yeah, they've got a big event this weekend coming up at Nashville Fairground Speedway with the Pro Late Models and 7 divisions running there. Shady Bowl Speedway. It's in DeGraff, Ohio.
Yes.
And it's the Boers Compact Tour Series
Yeah.
opener. 3/10 mile up there, asphalt. That Boers Compact Tour Series is pretty badass.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
those guys get with it. We've seen
Yep.
them here before a couple of times, and it's a lot of fun.
at the CRA Late Model Sportsman, Street Stock and Modifieds up there this weekend. And we've got some news about some other upcoming races. The Apple Cup 125.
That is way out west in Washington. And the entries out there, I mean, we don't hear a lot about these guys, but some of them we do. So just kind of keep this in mind as you listen to the list. And we'll run it down right now. It's Casey Klein, Andy Beeman, who that name sounds so familiar. I know I've heard that somewhere before, but I'm just trying to remember where. Ken Bonney, Jess Havens, Tyler Brown, Nick Gibson, Max Schroeder, Zach Telford. I know we've talked about him before. He's been here, as a matter of fact. Jonathan Gomez, Tim Babcock, Dylan Caldwell, Randy Marshall, BJ Tidrick, Jason O'Neill, Christopher Kolsch, Scott Walker, obviously Preston Peltier. We've heard of him. He's been here a whole lot. Hayden Plybon, another name we're familiar with. Garrett Evans, Wyatt King, and Ray Clever. That's quite a group of drivers. We'll get more familiar with these guys as we, get more familiar with the series. And hopefully we'll have some good times, and we'll be talking about them a lot more.
Yeah, West Richland, Washington's a little bit far away from here.
Yeah, a little bit. So
Just a few miles from our studio.
It's been, man. So, didn't roll down far enough. Get me, oh boy. Yeah, here we go. Wanat, I hope. Kyle Telstrom and Dave Garber. The 24 entries to that race. And we probably won't see it. I doubt if we're going to get that one on the dumpster list because it's a little bit out of the way, but it'd be fun to watch.
Well, our supporters and our listeners could help us along the way.
Give us a little information, a little feedback on what happened out there. So
sell some raffle tickets and take everybody out there on a plane.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Tour bus.
Yeah. Well, the big one's coming up this weekend, and there's actually on the same day. So you guys just take off with that one.
This is going to be a little bit of fun.
This Saturday in Cordele, Georgia, as you mentioned it earlier, they're going to have a super late model. It's going to be Southern Super Series. Bubba Pollard and Casey Roderick are entered in that race.
We know those guys.
Yeah, we've heard of those guys. I'm just cringing at what could possibly happen.
Well, we hered about those two at Firefly Speedway.
A little bit.
And they're both running Cordele, Georgia, Southern Super Series.
Yeah.
And then they're both going to get on an airplane and fly to Mobile, Alabama to run the Davidson Electric 125 SRL late model show.
Yeah.
Both of them are going to be in both races.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be very interesting because,
to say the least,
Bubba owes Casey, but I've never seen really Bubba give a payback unless it's a punch in the mouth, and he already took care of that. So, he jumped on Matt Craig's daddy one night and knocked him over the wall. But it's going to be a good race. Can you imagine you're going to run, I think that race up there is 150, 200 laps, then get out of the car, win, lose, or draw, haul ass to an airplane, fly all the way down to Mobile, Alabama, and probably have to take tail end because neither one going to be there for qualifying.
No.
So, Bubba won the last late model race at Mobile on the American Racers for Ricky Brooks in the SRL series. So that's going to be very interesting, good to watch. We're going to be in Mobile Saturday night watching. Not going to get to go to Cordele, of course, because we don't have an airplane.
No.
Not yet.
We got to work on that. We have to work on that.
Come on,
the
Thomas.
good news is it's still being built.
It's in the budget.
Yeah, we need a Lear.
It'll be new when you get it, right?
Jet. We don't need a twin prop. We need a jet. But anyway, so that's going to be interesting. And also, the same race, the pure stocks are running, but also the SRL Sportsman Series, which is like an outlaw stock, but detuned a little bit. And our own Cody Russo, which if you'll look back in our archives, we did an interview with her.
Yes.
She finished second NOP in the modified race, and she run second down in New Smyrna twice.
About time for her to get that W.
Yeah, and she's going to be tough. She knows how to get around Mobile really good. So, and there's, I'm sure Jason Vale and a couple of those guys will be there, the big guys from the Outlaw series. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see. I'm wondering if any of our local guys are going to detune their stuff to run with them. I don't know if Jason Welch or any of our guys or Bubba Winslow or anybody else is going to try to run that race, but it's going to be a good show, and I recommend people to get off your butt and go out to Mobile and support Gina.
Yes.
And support the racetrack. Support Five Flags. Support all the racetracks, but get your butt out there and watch a good race. And, enjoy some hamburgers and hot dogs and support the racetrack.
It's not that far away. I mean, come on.
Not from here, it's not.
No.
It's not but 45-minute drive. You and I are going to be there, so, it's going to be an interesting show. So I just think that you should support the racetrack. But I'm telling you, that Broderick and Pollard,
they're going to be pumping that one up.
And not only that, but can you imagine if he wins in Cordele, gets on a plane, flies there, and wins in Mobile, 2 races in the same day? They haven't done that in years.
No.
There used to be, there was guys that did that. They would run one race in the morning and get in the truck and haul butt to the next racetrack by that evening and run another race.
In an open trailer.
The last time I can remember that happening was when we got rained out at Five Flags on a Friday. They raced at Mobile, and then they came back and raced the next Sunday. Chase Elliott won both those races.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
But I'm talking about on the same day.
Yeah,
nobody does that anymore. Now I've seen dirt track guys do it. They'll run Mobile or run Southern, and then like Shannon Ard's done it, or run Tri County, load up and get to Southern in time to take up tail end of the feature. I've seen that done on dirt, but I haven't seen it done on asphalt. But this is going to be an interesting weekend because Bubba's won open race at Cordele. Won it a few years ago, missing the left front fender. I watched the video of that. That was amazing. The left front fender flies up and hits the camera, and Bubba ends up winning the race with no left front fender. But he could possibly do this. He won, like I said, he won at Cordele earlier this year, so he could win that race at Cordele and then come down here. He won the last race in Mobile and Lake Mall, so there's a chance of him pulling off a double header in the same day.
So let me ask you this. What do you think Bubba's plan is to go in? To focus on winning races, or is he not finished with what happened just a few weeks ago?
Well, I think he's more focused on winning races. Like I said, he's never been one to retaliate on the racetrack and tear the car up. Now, I'm sure if he's behind Casey on his rear bumper coming to like one to go and he can scoop him up and move him a little, he owes him one.
I got a feeling, at Mobile and both tracks, we've said that if it happens, you're not coming back to the track.
Well, it depends on how you do it, too. Bubba's never been, you look, they went, him and Ty Majeski, 2 of the best, absolutely the best, because Ty Majeski's won all across country like Bubba. Roderick, he's won the Southeast, but he's never gone to the Oxford 250 or to Canada or out to the thing. He's never done it. Not putting anything against Casey Roderick. He's a hell of a race car driver, even though he wrecked my boy and pissed me off. But anyway, you got to see it's online. Watch the last 12 laps of that late model race. There's nothing but respect.
Right.
When Majeski got into that lap car, Bubba couldn't run him over. He waited for Majeski, so always drove around him. And then there was a couple times Majeski got back to him, and he could have run off in there and used him up, but he didn't.
No.
These young people, some of these young folks don't race with respect.
No.
But they see it in Cup. Look at that dang race in Coda. They did 4 green-white checkers?
That's ridiculous.
Because they were just killing each other. When a guy running back there about 8th runs off in there and knocks the guy running 2nd into the first place car, they go all spinning, and he goes on and gains 4 spots.
Well, it all goes back to what we talk about, these kids that don't have to worry about fixing the cars.
No, they don't. They just write a check. Well, if I tear it up, I tear it up. My grandma and grandpa buy me another one. They'll fix that one. Chase Elliott's another one that raced with a lot of respect.
Right, yeah.
Because he had to fix the car. He realized that if he wanted to have fun other than working on a race car, he better keep the race car in one piece.
Right.
So that's my opinion. And opinions like buttholes. Everyone has one and it stinks. But I don't think Bubba retaliates, to be honest, unless it comes down to the last lap pass and he might have to use the bumper a little. He owes him one. But I've never seen Bubba move somebody to win a race either. Because you remember a few years ago, the last lap of the Snowflake, him and Nassie.
Yeah.
Nassie scooped him up and Bubba got loose. And that's the other thing a guy screamed about car control. Bubba got that thing sideways. It was gone.
Yeah.
Then Nassie got thrown out for it. which now has come back and has won several races. And then Nassie has actually turned into somebody a lot better. He's gained respect for people, not running people over.
Yeah.
So that's my problem. Race with respect. Like I said, you want to see a respectful race, watch Majeski Pollard at the Rattler, because Majeski could have used Bubba up and drove around him and went on to win the race, but he didn't. He chose us. I'll finish second. That was $10,000 extra sitting right in front of him. He could have used him up, and he didn't, because Majeski races with respect.
Right.
It's going to be a great weekend of racing. Y'all go out and support Cordele. Get your butt in the grandstands. Come to Mobile when you're down here. Get your butt out there, and you guys building race cars. Let's build some damn race cars and let's come race.
Yeah.
we got the Crown Stock class. It's going to get huge. Pure Stock. I mean, guys, there's a bunch of them sitting around. Sportsmen, get off your butt and come race. There was times I raced, I knew I couldn't win, but I wanted to be on a racetrack. Now I've won some. It's kind of hard not to want to win, but just to be out there, is still a thrill.
Well, big race this past weekend. Got big races coming up. We've covered everything that we know to cover. Guys, it's always a pleasure to sit down for what time we have to talk short track racing, go over our notes, and get things semi in order.
Organized confusion, I don't know.
Yeah, but guys, it's always a pleasure to sit down and talk short track racing. And I think Jim's got something else before we sign off.
Well, I just want to say, give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. If you're on Apple, give us a 5-star review. You can do it at Spotify. You got to go down, and there's a way to do it. With Apple, leave us a message, please. It helps us grow.
Yeah.
Tell your friends. And a quick shout out to Motor Cop Chronicles podcast. Give them a listen. Holstera and Iceman, they're great people. And they tell cop stories. They give us a shout out on occasion, so I'm going to give them a shout out back. Thank you for that, guys. I appreciate that. But get to listening and help us out. Help us grow. Anything that you want to talk to us about, email me at jbp07@hotmail.com. Give me something, what you want to talk about, what you think we need to do. If you've got a driver you want us to interview, maybe some young up-and-coming driver, something like that would be great. I'm sure we're going to have the McDonald's on here at one point with McDonald Muffler because I race against them. So that'd be cool to have Daryl Jr., the third, and Parker on with us. And that'd be great. I'm enjoying this, guys. And I just want to tell you all thank you and Thomas, thank you for having me on here because I love it.
We like to give the new drivers exposure wherever we can because that helps them and helps us too,
Yeah, it does.
So, there are three of us, and we are the short track guys. And we appreciate your listening and all your support. It is our motivation, and it's what keep us going other than loving short track racing and racing in general. But we focus on short tracks, and we appreciate it, and guys, I love it, and I think we've nailed this sign off, and
we said
we have enough to talk about next week already. So let's
go,
Brandon.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Be strong, America.
Thanks for listening.